Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for all of you who have joined across the world. This is your host Ashutosh, and warm welcome to all of you for the PMP 21 update program. Let us start today's session and let us try to understand what are some of the changes which are going to happen in the PMP certification program. So I just wanted to check that how many of you wanted to give that PMP certification exam but have not been able to give it so far. Just wanted to check on that. How many of you wanted to give it in the past, or have you attended any training program in the past and it has not materialized? Anyone? If you would like to add here, you can use the chat window. Okay. Okay, so I think, okay, so what PMP is about, I'll cover that. Yes. So PMP is Project Management Professional Certification, and it is coming from an institute called PMI, Project Management Institute, which is based out of Pennsylvania, United States of America. It's one of the most elite and it's one of the most respected, I would say, credentials which one can aspire for and which one can get. And yes, I do see a lot of people who wanted to give in the past or who have attended training in the past, but due to some work pressure or due to some personal issues, they have not been able to give it. That's okay. I mean, I understand that there could be challenges related to that. Just wanted to let all of you know that come January 2021, the exam pattern is changing. So in case you have enrolled or you have studied the PMP certification exam, I mean, if you had enrolled for any course which helps you prepare for the PMP certification exam, remember that course is not going to be valid. So if you still have a chance to clear the exam before 31st of December 2020, but from 2nd of Jan 2021, the exam will change to a new pattern about which I will talk about. So what is PMP? PMP is one of the certificates from an organization called PMI, and PMI stands for Project Management Institute. As I said, it's one of the most elite and professional organization which exists worldwide, and it is based out of United States, Pennsylvania. So if you go to the PMI website, which is www.pmi.org, you will see the details about what this website is all about. So the site to go is www.pmi.org. And on that, if you look at this certification PMP, they would have mentioned this certification, which is Project Management Professional Certification. As I said, it's one of the most elite certificates what you have. And in fact, many organizations insist that if you want to become a project manager, this is the certificate you should be having. Until and unless you have this certification, you won't be moving into the growth zone of a project manager. Right. So just to tell you what is the agenda for today's session, what are the key changes which are happening in the PMP certification program, then how it is impacting you and me. Even there are changes in the way questions are going to be asked in the exam. What has not changed, we will briefly talk, and then I will take it up for question and answers. Right. So as I said, the PMI exam is changing from 2nd of Jan 2021. The exam is still based on 6th edition of PMBOK guide. So there is one guide which we have to refer, one of the guides which you have to refer for the exam, which is PMBOK 6th edition. So PMBOK stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. This is the body of knowledge which has been published by PMI. And this is, if you ask me, a guide. It is the guide at the end of the day. But one misconception which people have is that your PMP exam is based on this guide. The answer is no. The PMP exam is not just based on this guide. There is other material also on which PMP exam is based upon, right? So there are other reference books, there are other literature which you have to source, and on that your PMP exam is based upon. So 2019, PMI published the new PMP exam content outline, and as I said, 31st December 2020, which is almost, I would say, 24 days from now, is the last day to take the PMP exam in its current format. From 2nd of January 2021, the exam pattern is going to change, and it is going to change in a big way. So whatever is the syllabus right now, whatever is the syllabus right now till December 2020, this will be 50% of the new syllabus. So they're adding something more. They're adding something more, which means you have to study more. Which means you have to study more, right? So what one needs to understand is the PMP exam, the content is increasing in volume. Also, they're adding some new and interesting topics. Like, for example, they're adding adaptive way of project development, or they're adding what we call as the agile way of product development, right? That is what they are also adding in the form of PMP certification exam, right? Also, the type of questions are going to change. Okay, the type of questions are going to change is shortly what I'll be talking about. What type of questions will be changing, and we'll talk also about the eligibility criteria for the PMP certification exam. Right. So these are some of the things what I wanted to cover as a part of today's webinar. And as I said, the entire source or the entire literature is available on the PMI website. So if you go on PMI website, the entire source is available, and you can always refer there. Okay, so I think the first question which everyone has is, what is the eligibility for PMP certification program, right? That is the first fundamental question which everyone has. And just to let you know, the eligibility for PMP certification program, there are three things you need to have. There are three things which are required to become eligible for PMP certification. One is you should be a graduate degree holder. So one is you have to be a graduate degree holder. If you are a non-graduate degree holder, you are still eligible, but the experience required is on the higher side. So the first prerequisite is you need to be a graduate degree holder. The second prerequisite is you should attend minimum 35 contact hours of project management training. So minimum 35 contact hours of project management training is what you should be attending, right? And yes, we'll talk about it a little later, but Cognitia does give you the PMP training. So if you associate with us, we do give you that 35 contact hour certificate. So if you look here, the eligibility is a graduate degree, 35 hours of training in project management education, and a minimum of 3 years of experience. Minimum of 3 years of experience in leading projects, which means that you don't have to be a project manager as a designation, but you should have worked on projects. You should have worked on leading project tasks. So that is what is the eligibility criteria for PMP certification. If you are a non-graduate degree holder, that is also fine. If you are just holding a diploma in technology or diploma in engineering, that is also fine. But the only change is you need 60 months of experience. So instead of 3 years of experience, they require 5 years of experience is what is needed, right? So I hope I have covered the eligibility requirement for PMP certification exam. It's a degree, a bachelor's degree, what we need to have, and then a minimum 3 years of experience. And the third thing what is needed is the minimum 35 contact hours of project management education. So you have to undergo a training from a training provider who will help you in getting that 35 contact hours certificate. This certificate will help you appear for the PMP certification program, right? So that's the eligibility criteria. I think if you are having an experience of 3 to 4 years minimum, then you are eligible for PMP certification program. So don't worry, you will be eligible if you are an experienced professional in the industry, and if you have worked in the industry for, let us say, at least 3 to 4 years, then you are definitely eligible for PMP certification program. Okay, now one fundamental change which is happening, and those of you who have attended this training earlier, either through Cognitia or through other service provider, you would be knowing it. Earlier, PMI used to, or the way the exam was structured was around process groups. So we had 5 process groups: initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. So this was the way the PMBOK was authored, and this was the structure in which PMBOK has been written. What they're changing from January 2021 is that there won't be 5 process groups. There will be what we call as 3 domains. So there will be 3 domains on which questions would be asked. The 3 domains are people, process, and business environment. So 42% of the questions will come from people domain, which is a big number. 50% questions will come from process domain, and 8% questions will come from the business environment and the ecosystem, the overall ecosystem which exists, right? So this is how the distribution is going to happen. So instead of the process groups, they are now moving into what we call as the domain, the three domains which are divided, or the way PMBOK, the PMP exam is now going to be conducted is in people domain, you will get some questions, in process domain, you will get some questions, and in the business environment, you will get some questions, right? So there are three domains. Under domains, you will have what is called as a task. Okay, under domain, you will have something called as a task, and under task, you will be having something which is called as an enabler. So just to give you an example quickly, how it will look like. So if you look here, I'm opening the official PMP document here, which is available on pmi.org. If you look at it, there are three domains: people, process, and business environment. I already told you the percentage distribution in these three domains. And under a domain, you will have a task. Like for example, under people domain, one of the tasks is manage conflict. Another task is how to lead a team or lead a team. The third task is support team performance. The fourth task is empower team members and stakeholders. So one domain, multiple tasks. So like for example, in people domain, we have 14 tasks. In process domain, again, we have tasks, and we have around 17 tasks in process domain. And in business environment domain, we will have 4 tasks. The smallest one is business environment, and there's a reason, there's a logical reason for it. Why business environment is so small is because PMP is an industry agnostic certification, which means if you're from construction industry, or whether you're from IT industry, or from banking and financial services, or from process R&D, let us say space research, PMP is a certification which is cutting across all the industry domains. So as such, it is very difficult to cover all the thousands of domains which exist in the world. So they have tried to make the content on business environment very, very generic. And the focus is on the people domain, and the focus is on the process domain. So as I said, one domain will have multiple tasks. Each task will have something what is called as enablers. So these are nothing but enablers. Enablers are nothing but like your learning objectives. These are what you should be learning for your exam, right? So for example, when you talk about conflict, you should understand the origin of the conflict. Why is conflict coming up in the first place? You should understand the stage at which the team is in conflict. That is what is important. And you should analyze the context of the conflict. Then you should evaluate and recommend the appropriate conflict resolution techniques. When I'm talking about leading a team, there has to be a clear cut vision, there has to be a clear cut mission, and then I need to support diversity and inclusion. I need to ensure that my cross cultural team is something which respects diversity. Servant leadership, they are introducing a new concept, which is the leader being the servant. The leader, instead of being a command and control leader, is more of a servant leader what we have. So that's what they have included as a part of this tasks. As you can see, it's a big exhaustive list which they have given, and the entire course is being structured around this. So we are now, in fact, we are almost done. We have changed our, I would say, the study material. We have changed our presentation deck from a process-based approach to a domain-based approach. Also, those of you who are from IT industry or software industry already know about Agile. Agile is a new way of product development which is based on adaptive mechanism. So the traditional project management practices have been predictive in nature, which means you know what will come in the project. Say, for example, there's a piece of land and I want to construct a mall on that piece of land. I know that as a part of predictive methodology, what we need to understand is that as a part of predictive methodology, I know the entire plan upfront. But there are some there are some products or product-based organization where they don't know the full features. Okay, where they don't know the full features as such. And what we need to understand is how do we execute projects in an agile or adaptive manner. I'll give an example of Facebook. or Instagram. So the day you installed Instagram or Facebook, the first day you installed, and today, when you look at Facebook or Instagram, I'm sure you would have seen a lot of changes which would have happened in the product, right? There have been a lot of new features which have been added. Some old features have got diminished, or they have removed those old features. Some new features have got enhancement in them, right? So adaptive methodology is that you don't know the full features of the product on the first day when you're conceptualizing or visualizing the product. But as you move along, you get more and more feedback from the existing features. You get more and more insights from the existing features when users start using those existing features. And based on that, you take a call that, okay, should I include this feature or should I not include this feature? Now, although Agile started with IT or software industry, it is slowly moving across other industry spectrums also. So that's why PMI has included Agile or hybrid approaches, though it was there in PMBOK 6. They have included it in the current examination release. I think one important thing I would like to tell here, the PMBOK version is not changing from January 2021. Officially, PMBOK Guide 7th edition has not yet been released. Remember this. The exam will still continue for few days on PMBOK Guide 6th edition. But the PMBOK Guide 7th edition is expected anytime soon. And once it comes, the exam will roll over to the PMBOK Guide 7th edition. Also remember one more thing, as I said in the beginning, in case anyone missed it, the exam is not just based on PMBOK guide. There are a whole lot of reference material and books which PMI has recommended, which is available on the PMI website. So you can always go to the PMI website and you can search those reference material and have a look at it, because PMI has given some more reference material as a part of the study for PMP certification exam. All right. I do see a lot of questions and hand raised. Yeah, but we will open up for Q&A shortly. So in that case, you would be in a position to ask questions to me directly. Okay. So about 50% of the exam would be based on agile or hybrid approaches. Hybrid approaches are approaches which are a mix of agile and predictive approaches. So those come under what we call as hybrid approaches, what we need to understand. So I told you the structure of how this exam would be moving from a process group to domain. Under domains, we have tasks. Under tasks, we have enablers. And as I mentioned, one domain will have multiple tasks, and one task will have multiple enablers, right? One task. So it's a one-to-many relationship. And I already talked about that. Not only just plan-driven approaches or predictive way of project management will be covered in the new exam from 2nd of January 2021. There also would be agile practices and more aspect on coaching. The leadership style, which we all know is a command and control leadership style, but gone are the days of command and control leadership style. Now, if you want to be a true leader, what you need to do is you need to be a more of a coaching leader, more of an enabler, rather than a command and control or a direct dictatorship or an autocratic leader. It has to be a leadership of coaching. It has to be a leadership of servant leadership, as we just discussed a few minutes back, right? So this is one major change which is happening. Another important change which is happening is the question formats are changing. So today, if you give a PMP certification exam, you get multiple choice questions, which means, let us say, what is the capital of United States of America? There will be four options: A, New Delhi; B, New Jersey; C, Washington, DC; D, California. And you have to pick up the correct answer, which is C, Washington, DC. You just have to pick one of the options in that four radio buttons. Now, not only there will be MCQ questions, there also will be drag and drop questions. For example, there will be widget in the question, and you have to drag and drop to the correct area, like match the following, like typically the match the following questions, right? You remember we used to do it in our schools and colleges, match the left hand side items with the right hand side. So more such questions will be coming. There'll be a lot of graphical questions where you have to click on the graph for the answer. So they will give you options on the graph, A, B, C, and D. and you have to select the appropriate area on the graph by clicking on it. Also, there is a plan, though officially it is not getting rolled out on 2nd of Jan 2021, but definitely it is going to come in future. They are going to increase the number of options for MCQ from 4 to higher number. For example, today it is only 4 options, but there could be questions in future which says, out of these 7 options which are given, select 2 which apply, or select 3 which apply. So such kind of questions are also being planned in the future, right? Those are the questions which will be planned also in the future as we go along, right? So this is a fundamental change. As you can see, this is first time PMI is experimenting with not just MCQs, but it is also experimenting with drag and drop. It is also experimenting with graphics. It is also experimenting with those picture select. It is also experimenting with multiple choices. So out of 7 you have to select 3, etc. So you will see that this is a tectonic shift, or this is a fundamental shift in the way this exam is going to be conducted in the future. So my recommendation would be that anyone who had studied for PMP exam earlier by attending a course, if you can crack it in next 20 days, nothing like it, because you will be saved from these changes. It will be a big advantage for you. And remember, your certificate does not mention the year. The certificate does not mention the year, and the certificate will automatically roll over. You don't have to give this exam in Jan 2021. But I think majority of you are here because you may not have got the time to study, as I said earlier. For you, the new exam pattern would be applicable. So there's a question, what is the age limit? There is no age limit for PMP certification exam, right? So there is no minimum or a maximum age limit, but minimum age limit is implicit, right? When they say that you have to be a graduate degree holder, the minimum age limit is 21 years, right? And plus 3 years of experience. So that will make it around 24 as the entry gate for PMP certification exam. But there is no upper age limit as such for giving the PMP certification exam. So the new outline is radical, but extremely valuable departure from all the previous exam content outlines. So till now, PMI has never experimented with these formats like drag and drop, or more multiple choice questions, or more graphic related questions, or match the following questions, but they are going to do it right now. Okay, there's a question that is the, okay, I'll come to that. So also in the new pattern, you have to not only study PMBOK guide, you have to also study the Agile guide. So there are 2 minimum books which you have to study. I'm saying the word minimum, okay, not maximum. At minimum, you have to study the latest PMBOK guide, and you have to study the Agile guide. Agile guide is also available on the PMI website. So if you go on PMI website, and if you're a PMI member, you can download the Agile guide as well as PMBOK guide for free if you are a member. If you are not a member, you will have to procure it from the PMI website. So this I already covered. What is a process group and how does it impact, right? From a process group to domain group. And some key highlights of this change, I think you would have realized by now that the new PMP exam is bigger and bolder. Agile knowledge is mandatory. You cannot skip agile knowledge at all. You cannot skip agile knowledge because it will be 50% of the exam content. So for your 50% of the questions will be agile related questions which will be coming. And this 35 contact hour study is the minimum study required, not maximum. So the minimum coaching which you have to take, or training you have to take, is a minimum of 35 hours. It can go up to, in fact it can go on up to 40-42 hours. In fact, the course content which is being launched through Cognitia, that is a bigger course now. Earlier it was only 12 classes of 3 hours each, which means it was a 35-hour 36-hour content, but now we are extending it to around almost 42 to 43 hours of content. So the course is getting bigger now, right? The course is getting bigger now because 35 contact hours is the minimum time frame required to study and understand what the exam is all about. But overall, the exam is much more bigger. It is much more harder, and it is much more trickier also. As I said, the kind of changes they are introducing, it is much more harder. It is much more trickier also. So one important change they are doing is they are making the exam much more difficult, and in fact they're aligning it with other industry certifications. So whatever are the other industry certifications, they are aligning the exam with those industry certification, is also what we need to understand. So these are some of the major changes. Now there are some minor changes also, but these are some of the major changes which are happening in the new PMP certification exam, is what we need to understand. And accordingly, the purpose of this webinar is to help you prepare for these changes which are happening in the certification exam. Okay, what is the worth of project management certification? I was about to ask that question, that why should one become a PMP certified professional? As I said in the beginning, it is one of the most widely recognized certification related to project management in the world. It improves your marketability. So if you are a PMP certified professional, when you're looking out for a career change, or when you're looking out for that new job, you definitely get a priority over others. I'm not saying that a certificate is solution for your, or it's a substitute for your experience. No, experience is definitely valuable, but to tell the other person on the other side of the table that why they should hire you and not someone else is through PMP, that you have the expertise and at the same time you have learned what are the industry trends related to project management. Overall, it has been found from survey that the customer's confidence in you and your organization increases if you're a PMP certified professional. So it increases customers' confidence in your delivery ability. Also, it has been found that if I'm a PMP certified professional, I will network with my peer PMs. I will make sure that I understand some of the best practices which I am using. I will share it with my colleagues. Simultaneously, I will also learn some of the good practices, better and the best practices which they are applying in their work area, and I will use it an experiment in my area. So that's another advantage. Networking is another advantage. It is a one certificate which is industry and domain agnostic, as I said. So whether it is IT industry, whether it is software industry, or whether it is, let us say, pharmaceutical industry, this is one certificate which is valid across the industry verticals and domains. And last but not the least, it's a global recognition of your project management competency. So it's a recognition which is coming from a body which is almost 50 years old now, and it is recognized, the world's most recognized and a visible face in project management, which is Project Management Institute. So it's a certificate which is coming from them. So these are some of the reasons. Again, I have not listed all the reasons, but these are some of the reasons why one should go in for a PMP certification program, right? So some of the acronyms which are very important for us to understand. PMP is the name of the certificate, which is Project Management Professional. It is this is a certificate which you get after studying for PMP PMBOK guide, after studying the Agile guide, and after clearing the exam, a rigorous 4-hour exam. PMI is the name of the institute which is issuing this certificate, or which is the pioneer body consisting of almost 500,000 members worldwide and almost 300 plus chapters as we speak. And PMBOK is the one of the guidebooks which is required for clearing the exam. But this is not the only guidebook. I'm sure you would have found out from your friends who cleared the PMP certification exam what are the different guidebooks, or what are the different books which have to be studied in order to clear the PMP certification program, right? And I already talked about the eligibility criteria. And remember one thing, one very important thing, that this is a CBT based exam, which is it is conducted by a body called Pearson VUE. One good news for all of you, now you can give PMP exam from the comforts of your home because of COVID-19 situation. You can give the exam from the comforts of your home. It's a rating based exam with no score. So you will never come to know what is the score you have got in the exam. Yeah. So out of 175 questions, how many questions you got right now? I'll explain that logic why 175 and not 200. This information is as of today, but this will change from 2nd of January. There will be 200 questions in various format. 25 questions are pre-test questions. Pre-test questions are questions which carry 0 marks. And obviously you will never know those questions, because otherwise you will not attempt those. The exam is of 4 hours. After 2 hours, the first 100 questions will vanish, which means internally you have a target to complete 100 questions in 2 hours. And after the first 2 hours, when you take a break of 10 minutes, and when you come back, you cannot go back to the first 100 questions, right? And then you get the next set of 100 questions which you have to appear for, right? As I said, there is a rating, there is no score which is generated. At the end of the exam, you will only come to know whether you have passed or failed. Now this is what the current exam sheet looks like, because there are 5 process groups. This will change to 3 domains. So it will tell you across 3 domains that how have you scored. Are you above target, are you on target, or are you below target? And accordingly the final result as pass or fail is what you will be getting, right? So this is some of the basic fundamental information about the PMP certification exam, which I wanted to share with you. I'll be more than happy to take questions on the changes which are happening, how it impacts you, how should your study plan be. My minimum recommendation for study would be at least 45 to 60 days of study, 45 to 60 days of regular study, and then you should be ready for cracking the PMP certification exam, right? That is what I always recommend, that you should make sure that you should study 45 days to 60 days. And with the lockdown being extended in the next year, there's a quite possibility that we may not have a COVID-19 vaccine by early next year at least. This would be a great opportunity for you to invest your time in earning that coveted project management professional certification, so that you can actually outshine in your career. You can have that key differentiation, you can have that key I would say cutting edge across your competitors and peers, and get that job in the market. I'll just quickly show you one of the topics which could excite you. So there's one topic in PMP which is in your area. I don't know if you're able to see. It is called procurement management, where we talk about bidding, where we talk about contracting, where we talk about the different types of contract, right? So all this is also available there on this PMP certification exam. So it's not just an exam for IT professionals. In fact, when PMI was formed in 1969, just to give you the history, it was formed by engineers from civil engineering, electrical engineering, and automobile and mechanical engineering. These were the professionals who initially founded the PMI body. So it's not, it's again a misconception that PMI is only for IT professionals. Fine, then I think thanks everyone, and I hope this information was useful to all of you, and looking forward for many of you to get enrolled for the PMP certification program. So we are starting one batch on 12th of December next week, Saturday Sunday evening time. So you can get the details from Cognition on that batch, and please reach out to the support team. They will help you understand what this program is all about, and looking forward for many of you in that batch. So thank you very much, and have a great day or a great evening ahead. It was wonderful interacting with all of you. Thanks.